After learning about someone else's intense and sudden spiritual awakening, I felt anxious that I might experience something similarly abrupt. To avoid this, I requested a more gradual awakening, like a stream flowing smoothly into a river. It seems my request was honored because my awakening unfolded through several episodes of spiritual growth rather than happening all at once. I've come to understand that spiritual awakening is not a final destination where everything suddenly falls into place, but rather a continuous process of maturation. This process deepens and broadens our perspectives. I have not reached a permanent state of transcendent enlightenment, and frankly, I'm not overly concerned with achieving that. What matters most to me is finding happiness and peace. Going through these periods of spiritual growth has significantly changed my life, and I'd like to share 9 key ways in which it has changed. Before my awakening, I was very hard on myself. I would constantly judge myself harshly for being lazy, for arguments, or for mistakes at work or school, labeling myself a disappointment or a bad person. However, after my awakening, I saw these judgments as simply perspectives, not absolute truths. For instance, feeling lazy might actually be my body's way of signaling the need for rest to prevent illness, or an argument might help address underlying issues in a relationship. I also learned that fostering change isn't about judging or criticizing myself, but about approaching situations with compassion for myself and others. If you've experienced a spiritual awakening, you likely know that healing from past traumas is an integral part of the process. No one is exempt from this phase. It involves confronting and working through old wounds, which is crucial as your spiritual vibration becomes lighter and incompatible with these heavier emotional burdens. Through these changes, my approach to life and how I view myself and others has transformed dramatically. One of the profound realizations during my spiritual awakening was the importance of setting boundaries. Prior to this shift, many of my relationships were characterized by codependency. I used to believe that self-sacrifice was noble, and I frequently put myself at the disposal of others, often to my own detriment. However, after awakening, I understood that such imbalanced relationships were harmful not only to myself, but also to those I was trying to help. By always stepping in, I was preventing them from developing their own capabilities to manage and soothe themselves, akin to muscles that only develop through use. At the beginning of my spiritual awakening, my tolerance for any form of restriction plummeted to 0. This included diets, deadlines, social obligations, and any hard goals. I found it nearly impossible to impose any limitations on myself that felt like they were constraining my soul. This was a major shift from how I previously operated, and it often backfired when I tried to adhere to any form of restriction, as my soul felt newly liberated and utterly refused to be confined in any way. This ties back to the previous point about having 0 patience for what I came to view as nonsense or inauthentic obligations. Post-awakening, I could no longer tolerate maintaining relationships out of mere social obligation, especially with those who seemed toxic or draining. It felt as if I was seeing people and situations with new clarity, and I simply could not ignore the negative impacts these relationships had on my well-being. This led to a decisive cutting of energetic ties with certain friends and family members who no longer resonated with my new vibrational state. Since my awakening, I've noticed a significant shift in how I perceive and interact with my ego. Now, I often feel a detachment from many situations and find myself not taking things personally. It's as if I'm observing my life as an outsider. For instance, during a disagreement, I can simultaneously engage in the argument and observe it from a detached perspective. This part of me witnesses the fluctuations in my emotions and understands the broader context of the situation. It recognizes that there's no absolute right or wrong in the moment, just reactions triggered by various pressures. This impersonal view helps me manage situations with more clarity and less emotional investment. Prior to my awakening, emotions from stressful events would haunt me for days. Now, the duration these emotions linger has dramatically shortened. Using the previous example of an argument, once the confrontation ends, any residual anger dissipates quickly. Instead of dwelling in guilt or self-blame, a deeper, more compassionate part of me steps in. It reassures me that if my intentions were not harmful but meant to communicate necessary truths, then the outcome, however messy, served a purpose, even if it's not immediately clear. Engaging with the spiritual realm has become a daily joy and the most transformative aspect of my awakening. The guidance and wisdom I receive every day are profound and life-changing. This connection deepens my understanding of the universe and enhances my interactions with the world around me, providing a constant source of support and inspiration. The insight I've gained through my spiritual awakening has been incredibly uplifting. I recall a moment of sadness when my pet bunny was nearing the end of its life. During this time, I received a profound vision from Spirit. They showed me an egg cracking and asked if I would feel happy or sad witnessing it. Typically, people would rejoice at the sight, anticipating the birth of a chick. However, Spirit revealed the deeper truth. While one life begins, another ends. They explained that the cracking egg symbolized not just the birth of a new life, but also the release of the soul from its physical shell. This lesson taught me to see death as a form of rebirth, a natural cycle where endings and beginnings intertwine. Another significant shift in my perspective is the realization that there are no inherent positives or negatives, no absolute rights or wrongs. This understanding became clear when observing the simple yet profound way animals experience life. To them, events simply unfold without judgment or attachment to labels. It's our human perception of right and wrong that often leads to conflict and division. In reality, everything simply exists as an expression of divine creation, devoid of inherent meaning beyond what we assign to it. Recognizing this truth has freed me from the constraints of judgment and allowed me to embrace the inherent worthiness of all existence. As Bashar once said, creation makes no mistakes. In the awakened state, judgment loses its relevance, whether directed towards oneself, others, or situations. Each experience is simply a part of the unfolding journey, deserving of acceptance and understanding. These insights are just a glimpse into the profound changes that occur during a spiritual awakening. I invite you to share your own transformative experiences in the comments below. Your stories serve as a validation and reminder of the interconnectedness of our spiritual journeys. Until next time, may you continue to explore the depths of your awakening with courage and curiosity.